there were too much prior bad acts evidence admitted before the jury. Also, the judge would allow more prior bad acts evidence should Weinstein elected to testify, which he did not do. This resulted in an unfair trial.
Is it a rare for this mistake to be made during a trial? Was it a controversial move at the time?
Well, funny, prior bad acts evidence is a dream come true for prosecutors because it allows prosecutors to bring in a lot of extrinsic evidence about the nature of the crime, the plan of the defendant, and so forth. And it really results in the defendant having to in effect, combat several offenses, not just the ones in the indictment, but the other prior bad acts that are brought into the case.
So will Harvey Weinstein be facing the same charges in this retrial? And how long do you think it'll take compared to the previous one?
No, the charges for which he was acquitted are gone. So right now he faces charges from 2 victims, and those could be retried. It would be, in a sense, an edited trial. You take away the prior bad acts evidence, but maybe you add testimony by Weinstein.
Well, those who had brought the allegations against Weinstein had been through a harrowing experience in the trial. What have they said, and are they willing to go through the whole process again?
My understanding is that one victim, Miss Mann, is willing to testify. The other victim, Ms. Haley, apparently is having second thoughts, although she has not committed, as far as I know.
And what have Harvey Weinstein's lawyers had to say since the conviction was overturned?
Well, they're pleased, of course, in many ways. It benefits them in so many ways. It's hard to know where to begin. But let's just talk about justice. They now think they've furthered justice and enabled Weinstein to have a fair shot at defending himself.
Will he be testifying himself?
Interesting. You know, that's a great question. He says apparently that he intends to, but even then, having defendants testify can be very risky, right? Juries like to hear defendants get up on the stand and say, "No, I did not do that," and so forth. But Mr. Weinstein has perhaps a more checkered past, notwithstanding the exclusion of the prior bad acts evidence.
Do you think the overturning of the 2020 conviction could impact any of the other cases against Harvey Weinstein?
Possibly. The case in Los Angeles, apparently the prosecutors referred to a prior conviction for sexual assault of Mr. Weinstein in New York. Now, while prior bad acts evidence is more permissive in California, the fact that they mentioned a conviction could have resulted in undue prejudice. So that remains to be seen.
Okay. And just finally, how do you think this retrial could possibly play out? What are the scenarios?
Well, New York County has not been extraordinarily successful with sexual assault cases. One of the agendas of Mr. Bragg upon taking office was to improve that. So we'll see, but it's very difficult to prove these he said, she said cases. And unfortunately, due process means that sometimes victims have to pay the price of suffering and sometimes just not being believed.
David Shapiro, thank you so much for your thoughts, sharing your thoughts with us. Really appreciate your time.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Good night.